welcome back to the channel. Today I decided to do a little video about how I got back into collecting comics. Growing up, my brother always had comics. He had 2 long boxes full of the best comics out there, and I always would just beg and plead with him, like, could I read your comics, you know? And, you know, there was no such thing as omnibuses back then, so I had, you know, my floppies, my singles, and when I got back into it when I got older, I was collecting collecting floppies, runs. I knew I loved when I was a kid. So I'm 29, so I grew up collecting X-Men and, you know, the mid-90s stuff, the Rob Liefeld stuff. You know, this isn't Rob Liefeld, but, you know, he's a big name in the 90s. And I always collected the single issues once I got back into it. But, you know, in this day and age, you go around and you find groups on Facebook, and you find things you love online. And what I found was the group called the Omnibus Collectors Swap Community, something, I don't know the full name, but it's run by Riley Moore and you know, Jess the Omni Dog's in there, and you got Omar from Meme Condition, and once I found Riley's videos, he informed me about omnibuses, and, you know, and I fell in love with his videos, and I fell in love with the collected edition. You know, I always knew there was paperbacks, obviously, but I never knew there was omnibuses, like the big, huge, like, collected editions of books. And once I found that you could collect full-on runs in one go, I was hooked. But I didn't buy omnibuses right away. So the first thing I did after I got back to comics, this was like probably 5-6 years ago, I was collecting floppies, right? I said that already. I was at Barnes & Noble, and I saw a hardcover. And at the time, New 52 was going strong, and I saw this one. My son destroyed the dust jacket a while ago, but this is Flash Volume 5 of the New 52 run by Brian Bucoletto, and I believe Francis Minapole was on the first 4 volumes. And I opened it up, and I go, man, I remember reading Flash and Green Lantern when I was a kid. I love this stuff. And I opened up the art, and the art was breathtakingly beautiful. I mean, Flash and Green Lantern is always great together. Their colors are beautiful together, and I feel like whenever there's a good artist with the two together, it always makes the pages pop. And so, anyways, I was at Barnes & Noble, and this is before I knew about in-stock trades where you can get half off, or even Amazon. Like, this is I just saw it and I grabbed it. I mean, I wish it was at a comic shop instead, but no, this is at Barnes & Noble. And so this volume 5 of the New 52 run was the first collected edition I ever bought, which is crazy because, like, I had hundreds and hundreds of singles and all that, but I never had a paperback or anything. So this volume 5, it will always be the first volume I ever bought. I went back and I got volumes 1 through 4 eventually, but I'm just showing this one off because it's near and dear to my heart how it's the first one I ever bought of a collected edition. And then after that, I would go, oh hey, New 52, DC restarted, you know, continuity, whatever you say the word, and they started over the heroes. And so, you know, I was a Marvel kid growing up, so I wanted to get into DC. So I grabbed the Court of Owls, Volume 1, New 52, which is a really, really good, you know, well-known run now. The Court of Owls are in Gotham, they're showing up in animated movies, and I'm really happy this is one of the first collected editions I grabbed. I believe I was grabbing the singles when they came out, like the mid 40s or mid 30s, 40s, when I started getting comics again. And I had heard about the Court of Owls, but, you know, they were really hard to find the first few issues of this run. So when I started getting in the collected editions, I'm like, oh hey, you know, I can't find Court of Owls, so let's go grab the trade. So I did. So as you can see, this is the start of how my collection started. Sorry, my son keeps getting in the picture. And after that, I saw Wonder Woman. And I was, hey, I've always wanted to read Wonder Woman. And New 52 was a good retcon of her character. I guess you could call it that. It was had a lot more to deal with the gods and her godhood, and how it gave her in this story it made her the it made her the not made out of clay, like how most Wonder Woman stories were. It made her that her father was Zeus, and it had her brothers and sisters, and it had a lot to do with mythology. And I fell in love with this series, man. Wonder Woman. This made me love the Wonder Woman character, which is kind of crazy because I feel like it's kind of polarizing with Wonder Woman fans because it's not lined with most of her mythology. Well, I like her a lot. It's Hades. Anyways, so as you can see, I was going down the path of collector's editions, and you see behind me, it went crazy. So I just wanted to show 2 more books. This is the first omnibus I ever bought, which is on the Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis. This is on the Ultimate line in the early 2000s when Marvel decided to do a separate line than their 616 continuity and start all the heroes over. Kind of like New 52, but it wasn't the main line. So it was that Marvel had the Marvel 616 universe, which is everybody you knew and loved from the 60s and 70s and all that. And then they started the Ultimate Universe, and Spider-Man started over. So it was kind of like a reimagining of Peter Parker for the modern age. So modern art and modern retelling. So kids can have a yes, that.
Almost done?
No, I'm not almost done. I'm doing a video. I told you to shush. Or you can go outside and watch the video. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys. Okay, let me go back. What was going on? I was talking about Spider-Man, right? This is actually going to be one of the first books I told my son, who keeps interrupting me, that I'm gonna give him and make sure that it's his when he goes older and he wants to read comics. If he wants to read comics, it's his. The art is by Mark Bagley, who did some 616 Spider-Man stuff. So it was cool that he came on this with Bendis. I wish there was a volume 2, but I was always like I said, I was always a Marvel fan in the 90s. Spider-Man, X-Men, Captain America. I love DC too, but I all my allowance went to Marvel. So of course my first omnibus had to be Marvel related. I wish they made a volume 2 of this, but with all my Brian Michael Bendis omnibuses, they never make volume 2s of anything. I have volume 1 of New Avengers, and they don't have a volume 2 out of that either. And there's volume 1s of so many Brian Michael Bendis books. Of course, after in the Ultimate Universe, spoiler alert, but it happened so long ago, Peter Parker dies, and you get Miles Morales. And I have that in paperbacks. The Omni just came out, or that would have been one of the first omnibuses I got, because I love Miles Morales. It was Ultimate Venom. But yeah, it was definitely made sense to grab my first omnibus to be something Marvel. So yeah. Alright. The last book I wanted to show you guys was when I was first getting back into comics. A reason why I got back into it was I heard about this character, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. She's a Muslim superhero, and she is funny. She's endearing. She's quirky. She's just a great character that I heard about while I was out of comics. And I was like, whoa, man, like that sounds like something I would love, I'm Arabic myself, so I felt like, oh, cool, it's a character she's Pakistani, but she's Muslim, so I thought it was something that I could, you know, relate to, like something that sounded like something I wanted to read. And a lot of people explain her as Seth. Come on, man.
I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna make a video too.
They have her as Peter Parker's of this generation. She's a book that I recommend to everybody who's trying to start to read comics. I would say Miss Marvel as a character is easy accessible and it's fun and it's just something you should always a book that would be easy to get into. And when I finally started reading it, I couldn't it was another situation where I couldn't find the singles, so I grabbed the first hardcover, and I'm glad I did because she's become one of my favorite characters, and I definitely look forward to all of her single issues that come out. Anyways, so the point of the video was that before I was interrupted 20 times by my son, was that I was trying to show you that collected editions are great. They're beautiful. They're fun ways to get in the books. There's paperbacks. There's hardcovers. There's many ways to get a comic that's not just a single issue at the comic shop. Of course, there's many websites out there like InStockTrades.com. You can get books from 50% off when they're first released, and normally 42% off. And if you get a loyalty discount, if you buy recently from them, they add 2% more off next week. So it's definitely a way to go if you're trying to buy books like this, or just big books in general. Like, here's the Brian Michael Bendis New Avengers. I think this book is now like.
I'm doing a video.
I believe this book now is like, when it came out, it was expensive, right? And then you get it half off. But there's some books like omnibuses that have been out for so long. I bet you can find this huge like 1,200 page book probably for like $25 at some places. So it's definitely worth the wait sometimes, but other times you go out of print. But if you really, really are a lover of comics and you feel like floppies they're hard to find, they're hard to grab all of them at times, collected editions are a good way to go. So my video kind of went off path here and there because obviously I was distracted. So I think you guys got the point of what I was trying to achieve here, what I was trying to let you guys know. So I hope you enjoyed it. Trying to think about these videos to do every day, so you know my channel doesn't go dry. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. You want to say bye, Seth?
Yeah. Bye.
Alright. Thanks for watching, guys.
I'm gonna do another Teen Times video.
Thanks for watching.